How you doing, guys? Corey TZ here. Mic might be a little bit different, and the audio quality is gonna be a little bit different, but is because I really didn't want to set up the other microphone for it. But yeah, anyways, without further ado, I just wanna bring you guys, my current Luard, deck profile. I played today at my locals. It did pretty well. It was a lyrical cup or whatever the frick it was. And all the stuff, so all my matchups were just lyrical decks for sure. I only lost to one chick that is a divine, and it's because I misplayed and I had no idea what she did. So it caught me by surprise, and yeah, got trick sack. But yeah, other than that, I can't really say much. This deck was actually pretty good. I did have to think a lot, so this is not one of those decks that, you know, you could just swing and go crazy. There are multiple things that you could do. You could either just go with double drag strider and win from there, or that it happened a couple times from all the games that I played, or you could just basically do a multi-attack that you basically just put your opponent on checkmate, and all the stuff. Obviously, having to deal with the counter blast is a little bit more problematic, but the other good thing about this version is that at least you can kind of rush your opponent depending on the situation. So yeah, anyways, without further ado, I did play, like I said, first round I did played with the one lyrical mermaid that is oh my god, that it's the divine girl, whatever, I don't even know her name. Starts with a K or something. Second was Clarissa. Third was Sienna, if I'm not mistaken, was the Gorgon one, and then play a couple other games. And I play against Petralka, but that one was a little bit weird. And then the one that gave me a little bit of a problematic was Zero, if I'm not mistaken. But you really don't have too much problems, to be honest. But other than that, yeah. So just to get the basics out, strides. And you know, stride, right line, crest, and then you counter. So yeah, these are things that you will not change, and I'm not going to explain the cards. So yeah, so I can keep the deck profile a little bit short. But everybody knows what the cards do. So yeah. Now going for trigger lineups, compared to the last one that I was doing, and I got called up by a couple of my teammates, for sure. So I just decided to max out, because I was playing 6 criticals, 4 draws, and 1 front, if I'm not mistaken. And I was playing I was still playing this OT. I did change it to the blue OT at one point just to try it out, but I feel like this one today came up a lot. So now, since I did play a couple games and all stuff, this card really came out a lot. There were a couple situations where, well, my opponent also got OT, so I just basically just grabbed something from my damage. Just healing that extra card is actually pretty freaking good. Obviously, I'm playing fronts just for the shield value, and that's pretty much it. And obviously, well, the heals. So yeah, this is basically all my trigger lineup. Obviously, it's pretty freaking good. Really like it. Really enjoyed it. Compared to playing with the draws, like I said, I really needed that extra shield value. So you know, I opted to go with the fronts this time. So yeah. And obviously, the other thing is that since you'll probably be rushing a little bit, you could just call a bunch of stuff and then just swing and hope for the front trigger, and it comes up from time to time. So your opponent can take a little bit early damage, because that's the other thing. Either you play it nice and slow, or just aggro it. So yeah. So anyways, for grade 3s, we're not playing that many. We're playing one ladder and 3 copies of Luard, and 1 of the Solomon Cloud Dragon. Luard 2, I will not change this radio. I really like this, especially the fact that it's more consistent to do drag driver, so you don't have to like be all panicky looking for you know, an owl or anything. So probably like with the owls, 6 copies of Luard is actually pretty freaking good. And the other thing is that if you're going second, sometimes you can just discard the owl on the past turn, search for the Luard, and you're good to go. Obviously, preferably is to have the Stolen Cloud Dragon, but yeah, there were some situations where I did, I could just put cards back into my deck, but the game was a little bit slow, so I just pitched this guy. And just went from there. Draw one card. It's actually pretty good, but it's mainly more for the 10k and the ritual. So yeah. And ladder didn't came up that much, but well, against Shoyu Doji or Shiranui, you might really need it. So yeah, it's staying in the deck. So yeah. Alright, for grade 2s, I did change a little bit here and there. I'm playing one of the this guy. This guy did its work pretty well. It just added any PG or Luard to go into Drag Strider or a couple other things. So basically, this just gave me an extra things to do, and extra options. So he was actually pretty freaking good. One copy is okay. For example, reason you discard it, just put back into the deck, and you know, kind of like brute force him out in a way. But yeah, but the only couple times that I did played him, pretty freaking good, but only one copy. I feel like it's okay. 2 maples. I feel like 4 is overkill. I was looking at Japan deck list to search for reference. Some play 4. I feel like that's overkill, and sometimes I just mulligan my entire hand for the maple. But with all the cards that you draw and all the stuff, you will probably see the maple. So yeah. And finally but not least, to round up the grade 2s, 3 copies of Morfessa. 4 is overkill, 2 is too little, 3 is the perfect number. This is pretty good for early games. Sometimes you do have Ritual Tree on turn 2, so you just basically attack with 15, because it's not locked by GB by a GB ability. So this card is actually pretty freaking good. And obviously, just to kind of like keep looping it and do some multi attacks. There I got a couple of my opponents today where I just like had one I played one. Obviously, it's a little bit more late game, but that will basically secure you the game. So if your opponent has like 10 cards in hand, yeah, they're not going to survive. So basically, just have to play 1 from hand and have 1 in the deck. So just go into the drag driver. Yeah, drag driver. You have to go into drag driver instead of drag strider. Play 1 from hand or manage to get 1 into the field, either by knees or from hand. So just basically just attack with the other stuff, and self-explanatory. If you play Luard, you probably understand that. So yeah. If not, you can just attack with the first, attack with the other, let's say attack with the other column, attack with this, counter blast. Obviously it will take a lot of counter blasts. To be exact, I think it was 3 counter blasts, but believe me, if you play your cards right, you will have those 3 counter blasts. So yeah, especially if you don't use the effect of Luard, just to call out, the only reason why you need Luard to use the Luard's effect on stride, it's on the first turn, just to start feeling up your field, and that's pretty much it. Other than that, from that point on, you're all set. So yeah, that's it for the grade 3s. For grade 1s, I'm playing a couple little weird cards. So I'm playing 1 painkiller, 2 copies. Oh, I knew I was missing something. This is very important. Let me double check. 4 copies of the undercover guy. I knew I was missing something. This card came up a lot. Counterblast, the only annoying part is the Counterblast one and add some things, but there are some situations that this will just get you the Morfessa, or this will get you the Owl or the Luard, so you can go into those Drag Strider turns. And when you go into, and in your first turn, you kind of want to see this card, your opening hand, because if your opponent doesn't kill this card is just gonna do a lot of damage. It's going to be very annoying. Just by the effect, just to Soul Blast 1, and it gets plus 10k, it's just a 20, that your opponent has to either spend a 10k, 10k, 2 5ks shields, or a trigger for just to guard this, or either take the damage. They usually just prompt to take the damage, but it's one of those cards that you just Soul Blast 1, get that 1 grade 1 from your soul back into your drop zone, so you can just kind of like start filling up, and it's one of those numbers that it will just hit. And late game, it's also pretty good. You don't use the effect to counter blast, but the soul blast effect is pretty freaking good. But yeah, I knew I was missing something. This card is insane. So yeah, I really recommend it. I was playing 3 copies, 4 is pretty much the best. Alright, now for the great ones, and I'm sorry for that one. Tigress, I mean, it comes up. I was probably just gonna cut it to 1. The card is okay. I really I do like the effect just to get that extra, 5k shield, so you don't have to spend a lot of cards front hand. Obviously, you do have the angel for sure, but the thing with the angel is that the angel has to be on the field. Obviously, it could intercept. This one, at least you can play it and then add it back to your hand. So there are a couple situations where you can just call this, so you don't have to commit all your Great One ritual cards from your deck with Luard. So you can just call this, attack, obviously boost your cards, add this to your hand, and you have 10k shield value. Especially if you had an undercover, grade 2 on your drop. This is going to be always a 10k shield, so it's actually pretty freaking good. But yeah, I really like the card, but at the same time it's a little bit iffy. But it's the only card that uses energy, so there's going to be a lot of situations where you're just gonna go Energy Blast 7 and just draw 1. Yeah. So yeah, let me see if I can round up the entire deck profile real quick. So yeah, so self-explanatory cards, ritual cards. Cut it from 3 to 2. I feel like 3. This card really doesn't do anything other than a shield value, and I'm thinking of just cutting and playing something else. To be honest, another great one that could be a pretty good spot. This is mandatory. It's the only way of counter charge and gets you your Luard, so this card is super freaking good. So yeah, 3 copies of this. I was planning on just bump it up to 3. This card has a ritual ability. And on top of that, if you have GB1, it gets plus 10k. If it gets retired from your guard, if you have the crest, you soul charge 1, your banger gets plus 5. So yeah, it's pretty freaking good and pretty freaking busted. So yeah, so mainly it's just the soul charge effect, because you kind of want to have, have cards and souls for this guy right here. So this is the only card that kind of like takes soul other than the painkiller, but the painkiller is just from those kind of situations where you just really need and you're desperate just to fuel your graveyard. So painkiller is there for that one reason, and obviously it just provides you that extra draw 1, have 2 great ones in the graveyard. This card is pretty amazing, especially on the turns for Drag Driver, from Drag Driver. We'll just use Luard and call 2 to the same column, and with the crest on the past turn, they get plus 10, so 10, 10, 30, so they turn into a 46 column. So it's very annoying, and then you just attack, get rid of both of them, get plus 10k additional to your to your Drag Strider. So yeah, it just makes it very annoying. This is mandatory. I'm not gonna explain this card. So yeah, I don't know why I've seen some people playing 3. I don't understand it. And well, PGs. I'm not getting rid of this. This card is pretty freaking good. Same thing. I didn't come up that much, but there are in situations where it's a guard restrict, this card comes is pretty freaking good. So yeah. Anyways, without further ado, that's it. We did for the deck profile. Use my deck profile as a reference. There's a lot of couple things that you could tweak. You could just get rid of the belt, of the painkiller, get rid of this, play something else, or just go from there. To be honest, it's just my deck profile as a reference. That's basically it. Just going from my experience, and since I do play a little bit weirdly, it's up to the person. But yeah, anyways guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe, whatever. You can leave suggestions in the description so I can have something at least to entertain myself in the future. But yeah, if you want to see some games, just let me know, so see if I can record a couple things. And if you want to see the profiles from other games, like Pokemon, since I'm started playing Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh! I'll be playing Master Duel at the current moment. Shadowverse a little bit dead, my local, so I really can't provide you guys with some good feedback about decks and stuff. But yeah, anyways guys, without further ado, thanks for watching and peace.